Ladies and gentlemen, my friends, fellow compatriots, fellow humans from across the earth, I am Nikhil Parekh. In this video, I shall be speaking about my book titled You Die, I Die, Love Poems Part 9, as well as giving you a recitation of different poems from this book. So friends, let me commence with an introduction to this book of mine about the poetry book. This book which has 40 differently titled poems is actually part 9 of the book titled You Die, I Die, Love Poems, 1600 pages. Poems symbolizing the immortality of love and at times its fickleness. Parekh takes the reader through a paradise naturally embellished with the ingredients of eternal romance and its sporadic failures. As they say, life and death are two sides of the coin. Similarly, with every true anecdote of love, there also comes fretful divorce, a thing which has been most sensitively described throughout this great collection of poems for the heart. Written and dipped in each ingredient of his passionate blood, Parekh comes out with startling revelations about the truest of love stories and their failures. Parekh comes out with startling revelations about the truest of love stories and their failures. Each verse has been delicately intertwined with the boundless aspects of relationships, romance, cheating, betrayal, and goes on to prove that immortal love towers over every shattered heart. A start to finish with some of the most heart-rending love poems ever. This makes a great collection for every true lover, breathing and desiring to be loved on earth and beyond. This collection of poems aims at perpetually uniting every heart on this universe in the spirit of immortal love and friendship, because these are the two quintessential ingredients to lead life till its last breath. Irrespective of whatever color, faith, or religion, it is only the rainbow of love which can transform the ghastliest monsters and perpetrators of humanity into peaceful lovers. Therefore, this book inexhaustibly endeavors to speak and preach the language of love even after its last embossed alphabet. So now, ladies and gentlemen, I shall be giving you a recitation of 4 different poems from this book of mine. These poems are titled as If Your Love Was True. It's all there in your heart. 2 hearts. And When We Fell in Love, Part 2. At any juncture of victoriously exuberant existence, you can of course purchase this book of mine from Amazon.com. Ladies and gentlemen, here is a recitation of my poem titled If Your Love Was True. In less than a fraction of a second, she would come to you from even the most unconquerable epitome of the Herculean and invincibly towering mountain. In less than a single flicker of your eye, she would come to you from even the most remotest rock bottom of the unfathomably undulating and unimaginably deep sea. In less than a single yawn of your mouth, she would come to you from even the most obsolete corner of the fathomlessly mighty and impregnably pristine clouds. In less than a single whisper of your voice, she would come to you from even the most sequestered hole, infinite feet beneath lackadaisically dead and treacherously obdurate soil. Oh yes, if your love was true from the innermost core of your heart, then irrespective of where she was, irrespective of the mightiest of barricade separating the both of you, she would immortally be yours and only yours. She would be immortally yours. Oh yes, if your love was true from the innermost core of your heart, then irrespective of where she was, irrespective of the mightiest of barricade separating the both of you, she would immortally be yours and only yours in less than an inconspicuous instant. But if there was even an infinitesimal whimper of betrayal maligning your soul, then keep frenetically searching for her like a maimed dog. But if there was even an infinitesimal whimper of betrayal maligning your soul, then keep frenetically searching for her like a maimed dog. But you won't find the tiniest insinuation of her reflection. For your life beyond an infinite life, more lifetimes. For your life beyond an infinite more lifetimes. In less than a single blush of your cheeks, she would come to you from even the most egregiously silencing and endlessly asphyxiating coffins of ghastly death. In less than a single flutter of your little finger, she would come to you from even the most treacherously blackened and wholesomely deadened fabric of the ghoulish night. In less than a single tap of your foot, she would come to you from even the most farthest corner of the limitlessly iridescent and majestically pearly moon. In less than a single unfurling of your lips, she would come to you from even the most blazingly indomitable and intransigently fuming infernos. Oh yes, if your love was true from the innermost core of your heart, then irrespective of where she was, irrespective of the most acrimonious apocalypses separating the both of you, she would immortally be yours and only yours. She would be immortally yours and only yours in less than an infidel instant. But if there was even an infinitesimal whimper of betrayal maligning your soul, then keep dogmatically searching for her like a wounded vulture. Then keep dogmatically searching for her like a wounded vulture. But you won't find the tiniest insinuation of her reflection for your life beyond an infinite more lifetimes. In less than a single radiation of your brain, she would come to you from even the most unbelievably disappearing and evanescently inane mists of nothingness. In less than a single snore of your sleep, she would come to you from even the most menacingly unsparing and cold-bloodedly squelching jaws of the indiscriminately massacring lion. In less than a single desire of your soul, she would come to you from even the most aridly charred corner of the unsurpassably sweltering and boundless desert. In less than a single swish of your palms, she would come to you from even the most unimaginably resplendent and endlessly fructifying corridors of perpetually priceless paradise. Oh yes, if your love was true from the innermost core of your heart, then irrespective of where she was, irrespective of the most tyrannically turgid boundaries, irrespective of the most tyrannically turgid boundaries chaining you, she would immortally be yours and only yours. She would immortally be yours and only yours in less than an inconspicuous instant. But if there was even an infinitesimal whimper of betrayal maligning your soul, but if there was even an infinitesimal whimper of betrayal maligning your soul, then keep rapaciously searching for her like a worthless skeleton, but you won't find the tiniest insinuation of her reflection for your life beyond an infinite more lifetimes. But you won't find the tiniest insinuation of her reflection for your life beyond an infinite more lifetimes. In less than a single nod of your head, she would come to you from even the most unfathomably stretched ends of inexplicably bizarre and surreally titillating imagination. In less than a single juggling of your fists, she would come to you from even the most inconceivably inexplicable and abstrusely imperceptible places between heaven and hell. In less than a single beat of your heart, she would come to you from even the most profoundly incarcerating and impossibly unconquerable wells of solitude. In less than a single breath of your nostrils, she would come to you from even the most intangibly ethereal and voluptuously tantalizing cringes of the enamoring rainbow. Oh yes, if your love was true from the innermost core of your heart, then irrespective of where she was, irrespective of the most goreely invidious battlefield between the both of you, she would immortally be yours and only yours. She would immortally be yours and only yours in less than an inconspicuous instant. But if there was even an infinitesimal whimper of betrayal maligning your soul, but if there was even an infinitesimal whimper of betrayal maligning your soul, then keep baselessly searching for her like a needle in the endless haystack. Then keep baselessly searching for her like a needle in the endless haystack. But you won't find the tiniest insinuation of her reflection for your life beyond an infinite more lifetimes. But you won't find the tiniest insinuation of her reflection for your life beyond an infinite more lifetimes. Ladies and gentlemen, I shall now be giving you a recitation of my poem titled It's All There in Your Heart. So here is a recitation of this poem of mine from this book. Something as sweet as hot chocolate, delectable crusts of cherry pudding strewn bountifully on shoots of fresh green grass. Something as sweet as hot chocolate, delectable crusts of cherry pudding strewn bountifully on shoots of fresh green grass. Something as mystical as the densely foliated jungles, wild outgrowths of rampant creepers scintillating under the tenacious beams of pearly moonlight. Something as gentle as the cascading waterfall, bursting into a billion droplets of tantalizing froth after nimbly clashing against the cold chain of rocks. After nimbly clashing against the cold chain of rocks, something as turbulent as the fulminating volcano, sprouting into infinite shades of emerald light. Wait. You don't have to visit heaven for all that. For believe me, it's all there neatly trapped in your heart. Wait. You don't have to visit heaven for all that. For believe me, it's all there neatly trapped in your heart. Something as soft as pure velvet strings dangling merrily in the air, a couch embedded profusely with mesmerizing fluff. Something as tangy as vivacious ocean salt, the poignant granules of silver sands found in abundance on the silken shores. Something as opulent as the entire dungeon inundated with shimmering pearls, radiating austerely in the airy blanket of darkness. Something as flamboyant as the blistering sun, something as flamboyant as the blistering sun, blazing its way ferociously through the dolorous doom, hovering in every remotely obsolete corner of the earth. Wait. You don't have to visit heaven for all that. For believe me, it's all there passionately wandering in your heart. Wait. You don't have to visit heaven for all that. For believe me, it's all there passionately wandering in your heart. Something as colorful as the resplendent rainbow, casting its astoundingly spellbinding spell in the colossal sky. Something as animatedly boisterous as pelting globules of rain. Something as animatedly boisterous as pelting globules of rain. Thunderclouds in space engulfed with streaks of crimson lightning. Something as effusive as a river of sparkling tears gushing down rubicund cheek, basking in the glory of innermost emotions, encompassing nostalgic childhood. Something as invincible as the wall of immortal love, perpetually safe against any hostile attack ever conceivable in this world. Wait. You don't have to visit heaven for all that. For believe me, it's all there swelling cyclonically in your heart. Wait. You don't have to visit heaven for all that. For believe me, it's all there swelling cyclonically in your heart. Something faster than the speed of light, traversing across the globe like infinite bullets, whizzing past at a time. Something more seductive than the most ravishing of fruit, more delicious crusts of honey, more delicious crusts of honey to gulp and consume. Something as aromatic as the scarletly robust rose, profusely disseminating its scent with overwhelming equanimity in the dolorously dull wind drifting around. Something larger than any dimension, richer than any individual, stronger than any evil, towering till the cosmos. Something larger than any dimension, richer than any individual, stronger than any evil, towering till the cosmos, as sacred as God who evolved the first human, as sacred as God who evolved the first human, unsolicitedly harboring all the love that was ever prevalent in this universe, unsolicitedly harboring all the love that was ever prevalent in this universe. Wait. You don't have to visit heaven for all that. For believe me, it's all there naturally and blissfully proliferating every second in your heart. Wait. You don't have to visit heaven for all that. For believe me, it's all there naturally and blissfully proliferating every second in your heart. Ladies and gentlemen, I shall now give you a recitation of my poem titled Two Hearts. So here is a recitation of my poem from this book of mine. Just because two scarlet clouds clashed vehemently with each other in the firmament of fathomless sky doesn't inevitably apply that torrential cloudbursts of rain would pelt down in ferocious tandem, left, right and center. Left, right and center. Just because two exotically fragrant roses kissed each other under dazzling rays of the sun and exuberant breeze doesn't inevitably apply that even the most remotest cranny of gigantically colossal universe was besieged with profusely overpowering scent. Just because two crimson skins poignantly intermingled with each other doesn't inevitably apply that all disdainful discrimination round the earth, uninhibitedly melanges with the religion of humanity. Just because two virile seeds romantically juxtaposed with each other doesn't inevitably apply that every cranny of the famished earth would blossom into perennial prosperity and unassailable happiness. Just because two undulating waves ebulliently swirled with each other doesn't inevitably apply that unfathomable fireballs of piquant salt ubiquitously sprinkled across all disastrously beleaguered quarters of this endless universe. Just because two fervent helmets crashed with unsurpassable ardor with each other doesn't inevitably apply that sparks of boundless euphoria flew upon every lackadaisical corner of the discordantly wailing graveyard. Just because two frigid avalanches of ice beautifully caressed each other doesn't inevitably apply that every iota of acrimoniously sweltering heat metamorphosed into a astoundingly placated goodness. Just because two philanthropic palms impregnably united in threads of profound martyrdom doesn't inevitably apply that all barbaric bloodshed on this manipulatively savage planet transforms into symbiotically glittering harmony. Just because two impeccable eyes indefatigably stared at each other doesn't inevitably apply that tumultuous thunderbolts of insatiable compassion are generated in every morbidly solitary corpse of the pugnaciously stinking graveyard. Just because two rhapsodic rivers amicably merged with each other doesn't inevitably apply that all murderously fighting tribes across the planet bountifully coalesced into strings of perpetually sparkling humanity. Just because two flaming rays intractably adhered to each other doesn't inevitably apply that every pathetically tyrannized speck of blackness on this astronomically incomprehensible earth would convert into spellbinding light and righteousness. Just because two ecstatic voices unflinchingly merged with each other doesn't inevitably apply that even the most obliviously sordid bout of despondent silence culminates into ardently awe-inspiring and melodiously enchanting artistry. Just because two resplendently shimmering pearls bounced against each other doesn't inevitably apply that even the most costliest of sinister darkness is perennially illuminated with majestically scintillating shine. Just because two intriguingly intrepid brains amalgamated with each other doesn't inevitably apply that every stagnating curtain of disastrously vengeful gloom on this globe fulminates into a mountain of invincible freshness. Just because two colossal treasuries chivalrously mixed with each other doesn't inevitably apply that all abominably crippling poverty in the savagely lambasted atmosphere culminated into a paradise of gorgeously blazing enthrallment. Just because two humanitarian streams of enthusiastic blood blended with each other doesn't inevitably apply that all horrendously racial discrimination and parasites on the globe would incredulously foster the principles of eternal mankind. Just because two volatile bits of truth rhetorically shook hands with each other doesn't inevitably apply that even the most salaciously bereaved consciences on monotonously diabolical soil blossomed into irrefutably sacrosanct islands of benevolence. Just because two ingratiating pools of breath synergistically bonded with each other doesn't inevitably apply that even the most devilishly diseased of organisms perpetually continue to exist for centuries immemorial. But just because two passionately palpitating hearts immortally entrenched in the fireball of unending togetherness But just because two passionately palpitating hearts, immortally entrenched in the fireball of unending togetherness, it does inevitably apply that all dastardly cowardliness on this earth comes to an abrupt end. All ominously bad is eventually decimated by the omnipotent light of love and only unconquerable love. That all dastardly cowardliness on this earth comes to an abrupt end. All ominously bad is eventually decimated by the omnipotent light of love and only unconquerable love. Ladies and gentlemen, I shall now give you a recitation of my poem titled When We Fell in Love, Part 2. So here is the recitation of my poem titled When We Fell in Love, Part 2, from this book of mine. It was a day when even the most pathetically blowing and orphan winds seemed like compassionately glorious tornadoes of unending excitement. It was a day when even the most insidiously ghastly gutters seemed like the voluptuously blossoming roses of unbelievably unsurpassable exhilaration. It was a day when even the most lackadaisically morbid of stones seemed to be bouncing in vivacious freshness towards the fathomlessly crimson carpets of brilliant sky. It was a day when even the most despairingly gloomy dungeons seemed like the blazingly scintillating and fragrant walls of eternal paradise. It was a day when even the most frigidly frozen avalanches of brutal ice seemed like majestically compassionate fireballs of handsomely comforting light. It was a day when even the most maniacal bouts of inexplicable frustration seemed like rhapsodically jubilant and poignant happiness. It was a day when even the most torrentially bombing cloudbursts of insanity seemed like a gregariously innocuous towel of ever-pervading humanity. It was a day when even the most despondently despicable of failures seemed like irrefutably triumphant winds, of a flamboyantly indomitable victory. It was a day when even the most painstakingly boring and invidious hours of the acrimoniously sweltering day seemed like the most exuberantly gorgeous moments of princely existence. It was a day when even the most horrendously distorted faces of ungainly disdain seemed like a grandiloquently seductive princess philandering ebulliently in the eyes of unprecedented desire. It was a day when even the most perilously baffling enigmas of salaciously uncouth survival seemed to be the most dexterously rhetoric solutions, wholesomely metamorphosing the complexion of sordidly dull mankind. It was a day when even the most acerbically intolerable of gory maladies seemed like unassailable panaceas to holistically uplift all tyrannically divested and crippling mankind. It was a day when even the most horrifically disgusting maelstrom of blatant lies seemed to be like the marvelously omnipresent sword of unconquerable truth. It was a day when even the most conventionally lambasting fraternity of the turgidly manipulative society seemed like enchantingly magnanimous patrons of insatiably intrepid artistry. It was a day when even the most irascibly cold-blooded monsters, indiscriminately pulverizing around, seemed like poignantly mesmerizing angels, having just descended from the sky. It was a day when even the most diabolically austere predictions of an unwanted catastrophe seemed like an unsurpassable showering of blessings from the lap of the Creator Divine. It was a day when even the most lugubriously dithering and delinquent snails seemed like ecstatically galloping martyrs of vividly enamoring patriotism. It was a day when even the most perfidiously obnoxious anecdotes of betrayal seemed like perennial entrenchments of blissfully emphatic sharing and relationships. It was a day when even the most sullenly withering and mutilated bones seemed like vivaciously resplendent colors of the heavenly rainbow, amidst the flamingly mystical beams of cloud and sun. It was a day when even the most sardonically ghastly vials of lethally devastating poison seemed like profusely chivalrous and mouth-watering, bars of supreme chocolate. It was a day when even the most brutally shattered and rusty glass seemed like the most splendidly gorgeous portrayal of harmoniously opalescent mankind. It was a day when even the most stonily disastrous and vindictively remorseful corpses seemed like an incomprehensibly piquant valley of pricelessly aristocratic life. It was a day when even the most barbarically penalizing destiny seemed like the most invincibly ultimate endowments from the Lord Divine. It was a day when even the most barbarically penalizing destiny seemed like the most invincibly ultimate endowments from the Lord Divine. Oh yes, it was unequivocally the most beautifully fragrant day of our lives. It was a day when we first came to know each other, only to unite as an impregnable spirit for infinite more births yet to come. It was a day when even the most belligerent of badness had transformed into the vital elixir of life for us. Oh yes, it was a day when we had fallen passionately in love. Oh yes, it was unequivocally the most beautifully fragrant day of our lives. It was a day when we first came to know each other, only to unite as an impregnable spirit for infinite more births yet to come. It was a day when even the most belligerent of badness had transformed into the vital elixir of life for us. Oh yes, it was a day when we had fallen passionately in love. Ladies and gentlemen, it truly was my privilege to have given a recitation of this poetry of mine to your victorious jurisdiction. From the innermost realm of my soul, I hope you have liked this video. At any juncture, of course, of mesmerizing existence, you can purchase this book of mine from Amazon.com. Thank you for listening to me.